Twilight bled into night over Siberia, the city's neon veins pulsing with the names of its towers: Siberia, Progress, Energia, each a beacon in the endless dark. The air hummed with the low rhythmic thrum of generators, the distant clatter of maglev trains, and the occasional crackle of static from the city's ever-watchful surveillance grids. Outside, the wind howled like a living thing, driving sheets of snow against the reinforced glass of the upper levels, where the glaziers lived. Anya, a ranger stationed at the edge of the city's outer ring, watched from the shelter of a half-collapsed service corridor. Her breath fogged the cracked visor of her helmet as she adjusted the thermal regulator. Below her, the city pulsed. Turrets spun lazily, drones patrolled the frozen streets, and the towering spires of Krasny Oktyabr cast long, jagged shadows across the ice. The cold didn't retreat, it simply waited, patient as a predator. Inside the upper levels of Krasny Oktyabr, the air was thick with the scent of ozone and synthetic sunlight. The glaziers, so named for their devotion to the artificial suns that kept the city from freezing, moved through the tower with practiced ease. Their quarters were a labyrinth of flickering holograms, dimmed neon strips, and the soft glow of bioluminescent plants that thrived in the controlled climate. At the heart of the tower, the great core thrummed. It was a massive, crystalline structure suspended in the center of the atrium, its surface shimmering with veins of liquid light. The glaziers called it the heart of fire, and it was the reason Siberia still breathed. Without it, the city would collapse into the permafrost, swallowed by the dark. Mila, a senior glazier, stood before the core, her fingers dancing over the holographic controls. The data streams flowed around her like rivers of light, mapping the core's energy output, the fluctuations in the city's magnetic shield, the silent pulses of the neural network that governed everything. She wore a long charcoal gray coat lined with heat-conductive fibers, her breath steady despite the chill that seeped through the cracks in the tower's walls. "Another fluctuation," she murmured, her voice barely audible over the ambient hum. "The core's struggling. The external generators aren't compensating fast enough." Beside her, Kai, a younger glazier with sharp amber eyes, adjusted the resonance dampeners. "The steel benders are overloading again. They're pushing the old grids to their limits." Mila exhaled, her breath curling in the cold air. "We can't keep bailing them out. If the core fails, the entire city goes dark." Down in the lower levels, the steel benders worked in the bowels of the city, their bodies wrapped in layer upon layer of insulated armor, their hands calloused from wielding tools that could cut through frozen steel. They were the ones who kept the city's machinery running, the maglevs, the heat exchangers, the emergency power relays. But their work was brute force, a desperate struggle against entropy. The glaziers and the steel benders had an unspoken agreement: keep the light burning, no matter the cost. Mila's fingers hovered over the core's interface. "We need to reroute energy from the residential sectors. The glaziers can survive on lower light levels, but the city won't." Kai nodded, his jaws set. "And if the steel benders find out?" Mila's lips pressed into a thin line. "They'll understand. Or they'll freeze." Back in the atrium, Mila watched as the core's light dimmed briefly, then steadied. The glaziers had pulled it off. Again, Kai wiped sweat from his brow. "Despite the cold, how long can we keep this up?" Mila didn't answer. She didn't need to. They both knew the truth. Siberia wasn't a city. It was a promise. A fragile, flickering promise that the dark would never truly win. Outside, the wind howled, the night stretched on, and inside, the light burned,